All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, we are live worldwide right here, right now, and we got pro NFL footballer and hip hop artist, man. We got Cole Beasley live on the line. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
You are most certainly welcome, man. I gotta say, first and foremost, just thank you for giving us a little bit of your time this evening. I'm a fan of yourself as an artist, and of course, a pro football player as well, man. So thank you for just, doing what you do best.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it, man.
And I gotta ask you, man, because obviously you started out in football. I have to ask you, what actually made you decide to get into football initially?
Um, I was really kind of born into it a little bit. My dad was a head football coach. Well, not at the time I was born, but he was always in coaching, and he ended up being my high school head football coach as well. So I don't know. I was just always around it growing up, and as long as I can remember, since I was young, that's what I wanted to be.
And also, as well, man, from 2012 to 2018, you actually played for the legendary Dallas Cowboys. I have to ask you, what was it like actually playing for that franchise for so many years?
It was cool. There's a lot of history behind the organization. And then growing up in Texas, it was awesome to be able to stay close to home. But really, I was just happy to have an opportunity anywhere, and just being able to play at that level was just cool as hell to me, and a dream come true no matter where it was.
And I gotta say as well, man, me and my friend Ryan, we both go back, and we used to love watching you just play for the Dallas Cowboys, man. You were a phenomenal face for that franchise, in my personal opinion.
I appreciate that, man. There's a lot of good times, a lot of good friendships made there. It was an awesome opportunity, and I was glad that I got to be a part of it.
And also as well, as we already know right now, you're actually part of the Buffalo Bills, which actually isn't too far away from the radio station's location. That's one of the closest stations to. One of the closest franchises to us. But I have to ask you, like, what is it like playing in Buffalo, for instance? Because I do know, like, obviously the Cowboys and Buffalo, they're so far apart.
Yeah, it's definitely a different feel and a different vibe. It's more up my alley. It's more of a college town type feel. So I think the fans are a lot more invested in their team here. It's kind of the biggest thing going on around here, and it's cool to to see how the fans get involved with everything. I mean, we didn't get to experience it much last year because of COVID, but these guys are crazy, man. The energy they bring and jumping off the tables and stuff. It's just an awesome environment to be a part of. I'm glad I at least got to experience it for a year. Hopefully we get all the fans back this year, though.
And I do want to say as well, congratulations on making second team All Pro actually last year in 2020, man. I just want to say I know I'm a year late on that, but just congratulations on doing that because that's phenomenal for any individual within sports.
I appreciate that. It was a fun year last year, and it was awesome. It's always awesome to be recognized for doing what you do and what you put a lot of work in for a long time. So it was cool to kind of get that.
And the one last question I have pertaining to football, because this is the one thing I've been wondering about since, obviously, with COVID-19, with no fans. Is it difficult playing football when you're used to fans and then going into an arena with just cameras?
Yeah, it was definitely an adjustment last year. Being so used to playing in front of a lot of huge crowds. But after 2 or 3 games in, maybe you started kind of getting used to it, and then you start finding all the advantages you have. You can hear your coaches from the sideline, and they can yell at you, get you right sometimes. So it has its advantages and disadvantages. But being in the AFC Championship game when they had the Chiefs fans there, and they started letting the fans in the playoffs and everything. It was awesome just to get back to that and kind of feel the intensity from the crowd and get that adrenaline boost from them.
And I gotta ask as well, like just transitioning into the music side of things, what actually inspired you to actually get into the hip hop industry? Because I gotta say, you are phenomenal at what you do.
I don't know. I've always been a big fan of hip hop. At a young age, I don't know. I remember walking into my brother's room, and he was about 6 years older than me, so I think I was in maybe second grade. And I'd go in his room. He had all the like the blankets over the the. He was looking like a teenager. He had the blankets all over the windows and stuff. It was all dark, but he had the stereo in there that was like this boombox that lit up with all these different colors. I used to just sneak in there and play music, and you know, he had like a Tupac CD in there, and you know, some of that stuff. So I would listen to that a little bit, and he's kind of why I kind of got into it early. And then as I got older, I was always one of those kids who always had to have like the newest rap songs. You know, when they came out, I have it all mixed down on a disc and everything, and I'd come to school with my CD or whatever. I had all the music that nobody had, and eventually that just evolved into, you know, me kind of getting into it. And first I would just kind of rap, messing around with my friends in the car, you know, freestyle in the backseat. I feel like that's kind of how everybody gets started. And then I got to college, made a little money off the field. Or when you move off campus, you get like a stipend check. I spent some of my stipend check to download a software so I could record music with a few of my buddies, and that's when it all started. And I got Pro Tools when I got enough money in the pros, and then I met up with Faz later because some of my buddies were going over there, and then, you know, that's how it kind of all came to happen when I did it for real. You know, it was just for fun. I just loved to do it. And I've always studied kind of how guys kind of do rhyme schemes and different things, and got real into the craft. I was a big fan of Eminem because of how he is with the craft. So, I don't know. I just fell in love with it, and I started doing it and never stopped.
And when we're actually on the topic of Faz actually here for a moment, your friend, as known as well, Victor Clark, yeah, you guys actually formed Cold Nation Records, and I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about your record label, and of course, who is also currently signed to you guys today.
You know, it's really just me, and that's it right now. You know, I told him before I did anything else, I kind of wanted to establish myself and kind of do my thing and get myself going first. Try to get some money rolling in that way, and then eventually we move on to that once we progress. But yeah, we started that. Like I said, I met him through. There was a couple. I think it was Morris Claiborne, J.J. Wilcox, a few others that were playing with me on the Cowboys at the time. They told me about this place they were going with this guy who had a studio. I just kind of asked if I could tag along one time. I really just went because I wanted to learn Pro Tools and everything. I was just gotten Pro Tools and was trying to figure out how to do everything. So I was really just looking for anything, some tips and tricks or anything, how to make my stuff sound better. So that's the real reason why I went over there to begin with. And then we made a song over there, and then Faz talked to me a little bit after. He's like, yo, like, you could really do this. And I was like, all right, well, let's do it. So that's kind of how it kind of got started up. But nobody else signed right now. We're just kind of working on me until hopefully we can get that going.
And also, one of my favorite earlier projects that you did is actually Run It Up, which is the Cowboys edition that you actually did alongside Camp Zero. And I was wondering, how did yourself and Camp Zero get connected? And of course, what's the story behind Run It Up?
Yeah, he came to me through Faz. You know, Faz came with me with that opportunity to make a Cowboys anthem, and you know, I thought it was a cool idea, and I was just happy somebody else wanted to make a song with me at the time. So I was pretty pumped about it, and I could make it an anthem for Cowboys. So it was kind of a plus. So that's kind of how it came about, and it was a fun song to do.
And I gotta ask as well, with Camp Zero, is that the only project that you guys had the opportunity to do together, or do you guys have any plans to do anything else in the near future?
That's all we've done thus far. No plans as of now. You know, I really kind of stepped away from doing anything with anybody else for a while. You know, I've been just kind of working on my craft and getting myself better where I want to be. And, you know, I really want to kind of make a name for myself before, I don't know. I don't want it to seem like I'm leeching off of anybody or trying to get a cosign or trying to do this. I want to establish myself. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my approach right now, and kind of how I'm doing things.
And I think anybody as well, especially in the music industry, will actually respect that as well.
I mean, I would hope so. You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to blow up just because I'm on somebody else's song or whatever. And I had one verse that I just got lucky on and just, you know, hit it right on the head or something like that. You know what I mean? I want to build up a catalog and all of my content and, you know, establish something for myself that's, I don't know, it's built only by me and not off just some little trend that just happened and just blew up for a little quick second. You know what I mean?
And also on May 12th of 2018, you actually released your album titled The Autobiography, and I was wondering, what's the story and inspiration behind that phenomenal record? And of course, where can our listeners actually stream or purchase themselves a copy today?
They can get that one anywhere. It's on all platforms. Yeah, that was just kind of like my introduction to me as a hip hop artist. Um, at the time I was so excited just for people to hear it. I thought I was going to surprise a lot of people with. Because I'd actually been rapping a long time before that, but I had actually never put together a full project before. So I was just so excited to finally, put together a full body of work. And then, cause I know everything's so single driven now, and a lot of people are just dropping singles and everything like that, and that's kind of how it works now with streaming and how everything's progressed. But I'm still like huge into albums. Like I love like a good album that I can listen to all the way through, and it's hard to find that nowadays. But that's kind of like, I would rather release album on album on album than just put out a few singles. Whether that's good for me or not business wise, I don't really care. But because the artists that I still love today are still dropping full bodies of work like that, and they're like cohesive albums that all make sense. So, and that's the stuff that I listen to. So that's the type of music I want to do. But they can find that on all platforms, and that was just kind of my introduction as a hip hop artist. And what I'm working on now, I feel like is light years ahead of that one.
And also, when we're still on the topic of the autobiography, I read as well that one of the singles as well, titled "United Hates of America," 2020, actually goes to all the streams proceeds actually went to 9010 nonprofit. I was wondering if you could tell our listeners a bit more about that nonprofit, and of course, what made you actually decide to donate all your stream money to that particular organization?
Well, I don't know. There's all these movements that go on in the world, and you never really know where the money's going. So that was one where I actually knew where the money was going to go to. He was actually a former player for the Minnesota Vikings, and he was helping out underprivileged kids that maybe didn't have any father figures around. So just kind of teaching them discipline, and it's a really good thing for the youth that they were doing. So I wanted to be a part of that and try to make a difference in that regard. That was kind of what it was for.
And also as well, I noticed that you did a considerable amount of work with an individual by the name of Destiny. I was wondering, how did yourself and her get connected? And of course, what was it like working with such a talented individual like herself?
Yeah, that was cool. I met her through Victor Fast Clark as well. Such a young girl, so much talent. It's kind of crazy to see someone at that age just that can sing and rap like she could, and I was blown away. So I was just excited to work with her, and really she blew me away so much. I was excited that she wanted me to even be on a track with her. So I was happy to help out a little bit.
And also as well, I gotta say, one of my favorite songs that you actually did with her is actually alongside a legendary hip hop artist by the name of DMC of Run DMC. I was wondering, what was it like just being in the studio with DMC and working with him? Because, as you said earlier on, you were like a hip hop fan growing up, and I could only imagine the rush that was just to be able to do a song with the king of hip hop.
Yeah, I was really excited for that one. Because it was I'd never actually been in the studio with someone who had done it at such a high level. So I just wanted to like sit there and just watch him work, man. Be honest, and just see kind of how he approached it, and that stuff interests me of how people go about their craft and how they approach it, and just watching him in his mode and his element, which is a cool thing to be a part of. So I didn't even care that. I like that I was on the song, but I was just happy to kind of watch him, do his thing really, and I was really just trying to pick up as much as I could and just learn from him.
If you don't mind me asking, like, what was one of the most amazing things work-wise that really stood out to you about DMC? Like, what did you really take from that recording session, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, one, he didn't write anything, in there. I guess it's kind of like how Lil Wayne would go in the booth, or Jay-Z, or B.I.G. I've heard stories of those guys, but he didn't have anything written. And he was just going straight off memorization of, I guess he had already thought it out in his head, so he's kind of rapping through it. Every now and then he'd be like, wait, hold on. And he'd like forget the line or whatever, and then he'd think for a second and he'd say, oh, okay, I got it. And then he'd come back and then he'd just go in. He wouldn't stumble over himself or nothing, just straight smooth, like he had been doing, like he'd already practiced it 1,000 times. So I don't know, it's just amazing to see how some people's minds work. Like I could never rap like that to where I could just, memorize it and kind of go in without writing it. I have to write everything down first, and then I can memorize it. But I can't just like write it and remember it in my brain. That shit is amazing to me how people do that.
Most definitely. I guess right then and there, just stories like that is why he earned his right, the right to call himself the king of rap.
Oh, no question. It's like it's effortless.
And also as well, the reason why you passed through our airwaves this evening is actually to talk about your most recent single that is titled Sometimes, that is blowing up worldwide. And I'm going to be playing it here on the radio station airwaves immediately following this interview. But I have to ask you, can you tell our listeners a little bit more about this song? And of course, where can they actually stream or purchase themselves a copy of this single today?
Yeah, this was actually the first song I made when I started working on the new album. It's crazy. I mean, a lot of people, they would say it might be my best one, but I mean, I have other ones that I like too. But this is, I don't know. I felt like it was a song. Like I want to rap about things that people can relate to that don't have anything to do with football. So, and actually, my whole album, there's nothing on there about football. I mean, I may mention it once, but the whole thing has nothing to do with football, and that's how I want it to be. I want them to be separate, but it's kind of just about the ups and downs that people go through, and sometimes you feel positive about life, sometimes you feel a lot of negative things about life, sometimes a lot of stuff's weighing on you, sometimes you feel like you take over the world, and that's kind of like what this song is about. It's kind of like the roller coaster of emotions that you go through day in and day out, and that's really what it is.
And also as well,
everywhere, pretty much. Sorry.
Oh, my apologies on that.
iTunes. No, I forgot. That was my fault.
And I do want to let everybody that is listening, if you haven't already got yourselves a copy of this single, make sure you head on over there, snag yourselves a copy, add it to your favorite playlist. Either you get it or you most definitely will regret it, because it is a phenomenal, inspirational song.
I appreciate that.
But I gotta ask you, what is next for yourself, Cole Beasley? Because I do know you said you're working on a new album, and I know you can't let too many cats out of the bag pertaining to this new record. But what is next for you in 2021? Because we're still pretty early on in this year.
Yeah, I'm just grinding, man. I told Faz, I just want it to be about the music, and that's it for me right now. I don't have like a huge collection of songs or a big body of work, so really just building up my catalog. And you know what? Like, the more you do something, the better you're going to be at it. And, since I'm doing football also, it's hard for me to invest all my time in the music. So I told him, I mean, it's been, I don't know when I dropped my autobiography, how many years, but it's been a long time. But I wanted it that way so I could, have the time to work on myself, work on writing, work on melodies. I've just been learning so much, and I've been getting better from then till now every day, just kind of slowly working. So I got another album coming soon. It's going to be called When Worlds Collide, and it's something that makes sense if you listen to it from track one all the way to the finish. So and it actually makes more sense if you listen to it that way, and I want it to be that way. I know people maybe don't listen to albums, but I do, so that's why I do it that way. But in comparison, like, the growth from the autobiography to this one is humongous, in my opinion. And I think people will like this one a lot more than that one, just because of the growth and the confidence that I've gained since then, and just been building and working in the studio. It's been a blast.
And also as well, Cole, this is the time quickly right before I wrap things up that I give a chance for the individual that slides into the radio station airwaves, just a chance to give shoutouts to whomever they want to give shoutouts to, but most of all your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything Cole Beasley if they're not already doing so.
Yeah, both my Twitter handle and my Instagram is the exact same. It's BEASE11. So that's where you can find anything in that. And then I also have a Cole Beasley music page, and then probably also a Cold Nation Records page as well. I'm sorry, I'm not on social media as much as I used to be. I actually got away from it, so I don't even know all my music handles right now because I've just been living in the world.
It is completely understandable, with COVID-19 going on, and of course your football career, music, you know what I mean? You definitely are a busy individual, trust me. It's completely understandable, and I know our listeners most definitely understand as well.
Yeah, but it's I mean, these days it's not hard to find. All you got to do is Google Cole Beasley and you'll find it somewhere.
Most definitely. It's crazy how the internet most definitely really took over.
No question.
But I gotta say, Cole, thank you so much for just giving us a little bit of your time this evening, and just coming on the radio station airwaves. It truthfully was an honor, and most definitely a privilege. I'm looking forward to your new record, and I'm looking forward to watching you on TV as well when the football season starts.
I appreciate that, man. Thanks for having me.
You're most certainly welcome. Have yourself a great night.